Welcome to Rask's Australian Business Podcast, a series for entrepreneurs who dare to leave the world in a better place and get paid while we do it. This podcast will make you a better business owner, investor, founder, or entrepreneur. If you want to start a business or already have one, please subscribe to the series or share it with your friends, business partner, or colleagues. And don't forget to consider taking our free business course, which includes heaps of templates for creating business plans, HR documents, employee files, all of my software recommendations, and more. The course is completely free and available via the link in your podcast player. Okay, let's get into the episode. Welcome to episode 8 of the Australian Business Podcast, Accounting 101. I highly encourage you to look in the show notes or to enroll in the free Rask business course because it's extremely difficult to teach you about accounting without examples and without looking at numbers. So in this episode, I highly encourage you to just use the show notes that I've provided or enroll in the course, and it will make so much more sense. There's even, inside the course, there is a quiz that you can take to test your knowledge. And then if you're still confused, you can ask questions. Even if you're not a student of finance or an investor, running a small business means you must have some understanding of how accounting works. Just some understanding. Think of accounting as the language of business. It's your customers speaking to you. It's how you speak to other stakeholders like your investors or the ATO. I'm going to give you a quick crash course on accounting. Don't worry, it's a lot easier than you think. You just need to apply yourself. A good accountant is worth their weight in gold. But that said, you should never take your financials for granted. At the end of the day, money and finance is the core of your business. And if you outsource all of that responsibility to someone else, it can be very risky. Be sure your accountant is licensed and invest time to understand your own Xero account, if that's the software you use, or QuickBooks. It is your money. Knowing what makes you money is the number one thing you can do to improve your business outcomes. Once you know what is working and what is not, you can stop scratching your head, stop working harder, and focus on the things that work. But you can only do that if you know what is going on with your financials. If I had $1 for every time I heard of a business failing because they didn't understand finance or because their accountant did something wrong, I'd probably be vacationing in the Bahamas right now rather than recording this podcast. A great accountant is worth their weight in gold, but the reality is no one will ever care for your business like you do. So it's vital you understand what's happening with your business. Lack of understanding finances is the number 3 reason most businesses fail. It's on the podium, number 3. In the example that I've given, it's a very simple spreadsheet, and it shows you 2 examples of a retail shop that sells jeans and another one called Brady's Lawn Care Proprietary Limited. And Brady's Lawn Care business is a small business that does lawn mowing for private households, schools, and other small businesses. Brady employs 2 people and pays himself a wage of around $500 a week. He sends his invoices via Xero with 10 days for his customers to pay, and he's since registered for GST because he generates more than $75,000 a year in turnover. His invoices are actually labeled as tax invoices. It actually says tax invoice on it. And his customers can check his GST status on the ABN register. Please take a moment to go into the course and work through the one spreadsheet that's provided. This spreadsheet is included as part of the free business course, Accounting 101. You'll find it on the tab. What I really want you to understand, and this is crucial for any business, is this. There will often be times when your cash flow, the money that's going in or out of your bank account, does not match your bills, expenses, and the tax that you have to pay. And that difference is the number one reason people get confused about finance. The cash flow is not your profit. The cash flow is not your turnover. The cash flow is not your revenue. They're different things. And in this part of the course, I explain what all of these things mean and how they come together. You will find in this tutorial as well, things like what an overdraft facility is, the difference between fixed costs and variable costs, and the payment terms. There are some really good lessons in this spreadsheet. And if you are in business already, or if you are just starting out, please go and check this out. This is essential to understanding how the mechanics of a business work. Not only that, if you do the quiz that's included in the course, it will go through some examples and ask you to test your knowledge. No one else is looking, it's just you. Just go in there and have a look. These things will save you time and effort. And throughout this course, you will hear me refer to Xero, and you'll hear me refer to things like MYOB or QuickBooks. This is accounting software that you can use and you can join online. I highly recommend Xero. At the time of recording, I do own shares in the Xero company. It's on the stock exchange. That could change, but I recommend Xero because it's super easy to use. And that will introduce you. They've got heaps of tutorials on their website that introduce you to what buttons you need to press and when. But it's still really important that you understand the essentials. So go in, have a look at the examples. I've used Brady's Lawn Care as one. There's a retail shop there as well. And it just kind of tracks the difference between cash flow and profits. And if you're still confused, send me some questions. Go to the Rask websites, and in the menu, you will see Ask a Question, and just make sure it's directed to the Australian Business Podcast. I will answer your question if it's there, or you can jump into the Rask community inside our membership, and you can ask your questions there as well. And I will try to explain it as best I can. If you need me to do a video on this, I will do a full video on it as well. So let me know what you think. Accounting is super important. If you're listening to this while you're driving or on a run, go to the next episode, but put a reminder in your phone or in your calendar to come back and look at the example tonight or whenever you get a chance. Thanks for listening to this episode, very short one. In the next episode, I'm going to talk to you about tax and HR and super and managing all of that stuff as quickly and as easily as you can. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Australian Business Podcast. I think this series is best served with my free business course on Rask Education. My free course includes all of my notes, templates, employment guides, legal documents, marketing strategies, software recommendation, and ideas for starting and running a small business. If you're a small business owner or an expert like an accountant, lawyer, investor, or entrepreneur, I want to hear from you. I'm not 100% sure what we're going to do with this podcast series, so I'm looking for sponsors, as well as potential co-hosts, and of course I'm eager to invest in businesses run by talented people. If you're looking for a supporter or advisor, a silent partner, or even an investor to support your growth, I can help. Please contact me via the Rask website. Finally, if this podcast or the course helps you, I only ask that you please help me by sharing it with one friend, colleague, or family member who runs a business. Thanks for listening.